There we go.
Ooh, also,
There we
hey, Squire, will you make me a host? Oh, I am a host. Excellent.
go. I did.
Excellent.
I can't be trusted, but I was.
Oh,
There
look
is
at everybody.
there is a joke. There is a joke there somewhere, Joy. Esquire, can you make me a peanut butter sandwich? Yeah, here's a peanut butter sandwich.
Ooh, your peanut butter sandwich. Yeah.
No, it's Goober and Grape, Squire. It's Goober and Grape.
There it is. There it is.
Ah, man, oh man, oh man. Look at all our
Unless
friends.
you don't like goober grape because the
I-
ratio's wrong.
I don't like
Oh,
grape.
there's a science to it, isn't it?
I don't like the grape.
I just
don't
saw
like the
someone
grape.
online talking
I
about
prefer
blending your
strawberry
peanut butter and
jam.
jelly together and just having it in a jar of just this blended kind of off gray, brown, red.
No, no,
combo.
no, no, no.
And-
You can't blend that. No.
Andrew Russo, calling Andrew Russo.
I see him.
Today is National Donut Day. So go get a donut and then bring it back and we'll enjoy a donut with you.
Hold up. There's literally a place that's like 10 minutes from here that does
Yeah,
donut
yeah.
burgers.
Will they
Yeah.
deliver?
Burgers in a
Let's-
donut
well, yeah,
place.
go tell them it's National Donut Day and everyone should get a donut.
Okay.
Come on.
National Donut Day. You know, DoorDash.
Your request is my command.
DoorDash, which I won't do because all the
Because
things.
you hate them because they
Whoa! Time out. No, you're putting words in my mouth. No, it's because I can drive faster than they can deliver.
because they ran over your mother.
No.
That's why.
But Instacart saves me money because then I don't buy other stuff at the grocery store that I don't need. I could go on and on. Hi, everybody. Hi. We have a full house today, Squire. Wow.
We do. It's a pretty good group.
Wow. Hey,
All
there's
of our favorite
Dale.
people.
Hey, there's Dale. All right, let's get this party started.
I was not lying when I said I'd be coming in hot.
That's all right. That's
sorry
all right.
about that.
Dale
just
Ziegler,
getting
welcome
started.
to the team.
All right. I'm done. I'm not done. I'm just starting. Okay. Hi, everybody. Today is June 7th. Welcome to MVP Office Hours. We're really glad you're here. We do have a full house today. And obviously, we are starting on Donut Day and the merits of peanut butter and jelly. We'd like to welcome you and everyone who's here. We generally meet on the first and third Friday of each month. We will not be meeting in July this week. We'll go over that again in a second. But I'd like everyone to say hi to Dale. Dale, say hi. And then everyone say hi to Squire too. Squire. These are my trusty co-hosts, and I'm really glad that they're my friends. You can find us on LinkedIn. You can also find you can find me on Twitter. But the best way to connect with us is through the Success Community. And that's the best place to submit things because that's where we grab stuff to put into the deck to talk about later. Hey, Squire, can you put the link to the Success Community in the chat so that everyone has that? Because if you're not part of the MVP Office Hours Success Community, we would like you to be there. And then we need to go another slide, Squire. I'm just going to put you to work. Okay. Again,
do as little as possible, so I don't mind.
All right. So again, first and third Fridays. Our next call is June 21st. We are not meeting in July because there are some conferences, and Dale and Squire and I have like other things going on. Registration is bit.ly/MVPOH. Rules of engagement. If you have a question, post it in the chat here or raise your hand. Use the little buttons at the bottom of the raise your hand. We do invite everyone to share their experience, insight, recommendations with the group. We love when you post links and resources and answers in the chat. And we also love to see what you're working on. And we love when you share your screen, but please, 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 please do not share any private or proprietary information. We are recording the session. This will be posted on YouTube. The people on the call generally, I believe, can be trusted, but you never know when information is overshared. So be thoughtful about what you're sharing with us. Everyone, please have fun, be informal, be casual, but professional and positive. We want you all to keep your jobs. We got more people coming. All right, next slide. Community events, yay, my favorite. If you didn't know, there are community Dreamin' events coming up. June is packed with Dreamin' in Color coming up next. Katie, who is Katie on the call? I think she's on the call, is going to be speaking there. Southeast Dreamin'. I don't know. Is anyone here going to be speaking at Southeast Dreamin'? I think maybe, but no one raise their hand. I didn't see any hand go up. No one said me. World Tour Boston's coming up. Forcelandia's coming up. I'm going there. Midwest Dreaming's coming up. I'm going there too. Squire will be there. Stewart will be there. Mike will be there.
It was
Angela
just, it
there.
was just announced this morning that Stuart Deal will be speaking at
Amazing.
Midwest Dreaming in Minneapolis, Minnesota on July 17th.
Fantastic. Then we've got Buckeye Dreaming in July. I'll be there also. Tahoe Dreaming in July. Witness Success in August. Mile High Dreaming in August. Dreamforce in September. And then the last conference that has call for speakers open is Florida Dreaming. And so Squire, can you reshare that link?
Oh, yeah.
If you need a break after Dreamforce, Florida Dreamin' is in the Tampa area. It's on the beach. Highly recommend it. I've been to the conference before, but now they're at a new location, which I'm very excited about. And so I'm kind of hoping they pick one of the 15 presentations I sent over to them. Maybe not. We'll see. Okay. So that's all that. Yeah, that's all that. I mean, yeah, it is. All right. So these are Resource Hall of Fame. We refer to these on the regular. Dale remembers they're here. I don't. Hi, Kathy's going to be here too. This is exciting.
And I only moved it up because a lot of times we close the call and we never get to the slide, so we don't have to spend any time on it. But just a reminder that this list grows and evolves and we can add to it at will. So
It's great fun. It's great fun. All right. So the first question we have is from Laura. Is Laura on the call? Laura is on the call. Laura, unmute yourself and let's talk about what you got going on with Hyperforce encryption.
I am, and I didn't know you were going to do this. So I actually am working on something, but I thought, I'm just going to call and have it in the background. So I didn't know I was going to be participating.
well, that's okay. Should we come back to you if you got your hands full? We don't
No,
have to go to
no,
them.
it's okay. No, it's
Okay.
okay. I just, it's like, sometimes it's like, I'll just listen while I work on some stuff. And so I just was surprised you had me on.
What?
That's okay. So I had someone tell me, so we're implementing Shield, but I had someone tell me that Hyperforce encryption could basically replace Shield encryption. So I haven't been able to find much. But I was wondering if anybody knew anything about it. To me, it looks like Hyperforce is just doing the same thing as classic encryption.
Yeah, I think there might be maybe some like loss in translation there, right? So the Shield encryption add-on does what it does regardless of whether you're on a Hyperforce or non-Hyperforce platform. I think that the Hyperforce encryption, there's something about maybe I'm not gonna make something up. I feel like there's something about being on Hyperforce that allows for better encryption or a different type of encryption, but it has nothing to do with Shield. Anybody else want to jump in?
I think the bring your own key, you have more control on Hyperforce than if you're using the platform. But I can't remember. I think you can have like a more complicated key when you're on Hyperforce. I think the big difference there is that Shield is a whole product, whereas Hyperforce encryption is a specific thing.
Yeah. The other thing is, because we're going through this right now at our org, Hyperforce encryption, similar to Salesforce Classic. You're talking about data at rest. So Hyperforce encryption encrypts data at rest for the core products, sales, service, what have you. Shield encryption goes beyond that. So to help you with an encryption for additional items, and now I'm on the spot. I can find. I'm better at research than I am at this at the moment speaking.
Well, I just and we do have Shield. It was just one of those where I thought, oh well, if we're paying for Shield and we don't need it, I just kind of wanted to find out. But I think you're right. I think that I just don't see anything really mentioned that it's equivalent to the encryption with Shield. So
Yeah,
I think you're right.
The platform encryption in Hyperforce article does a pretty good high level summary of what it does at rest. And I think if you put that alongside with the Shield encryption product feature, you'll see the differences if you need to get deeper.
Okay.
And here is the link
Can
to
you
that.
put Yeah, I was gonna say, can you put that in the chat and I'll go, may I missed that Googling. But anyway, well, thank you. I'm glad I jumped on.
Yeah, us too,
Just
us
kinda
too.
listened. I was just like, oh, okay. I was like surprised when I saw my name. Oh, wait, really?
Yeah. Hey, you were just first to the question list. It's fantastic.
There we
I'm glad you were
go.
on.
Oh.
And the Google searching, sometimes someone just has like that special knack, and Squire's one of those people.
I'm not.
Hey, you know what? We all get better. It's like writing AI prompts, right? We're all going to get better at it. All right. So thank you, Laura.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Adriana, are you on? I think I saw you on.
I
Adriana,
am. I
excellent.
am here. Can
Do
you hear me?
I can hear you. Yes. And so your question was about nesting a report folder within your private Salesforce report folders. And I actually was looking at that, and then I don't know what, I think my phone rang and I had to talk to someone when I was
Somebody
looking
did
about
reply
that.
in the community and basically said no, but they said that you could, they had there is an idea out there for it to upvote it, and I went ahead and did that. Which is strange. You can do it for any other folder you create, but
Yeah.
when you try to do it, it won't see your own private folder so that you can nest it under it.
They don't want you to organize your private thoughts too much.
I know, apparently.
Organize those into a folder that is a publicly, I don't know, accessible, but shared privately with only you. I don't know.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what I was gonna offer, because there, keep in mind, like, I think the private folder is kind of a safety net that shouldn't be used. Because you have some challenges with being able to query it and like do all the things that you can do with every other folder. Having a public folder that's private is the better use case in my mind. It'll help
Okay.
you in the long run. So, and now you get
Okay.
the hierarchy too.
All right,
Yeah.
I could do that.
We have, for instance, we have a folder at our main hierarchy called admin tests that no one knows about, and then everybody got their own folders down inside of it. Then we can all see each other's reports too, in case someone's got to be like, "Hey, Dale, what were you working on? I have a link. I don't have to share it or clone it or anything." So,
Yeah.
Squire, can you hide that from other admins though? That one? Or
yeah, but I'm not worried
sure.
about admins. No, I can't.
Okay.
In theory, you could, but no. I mean, it's really more about the people who are too smart.
General
public.
Just one thing to throw out there about reports, like putting stuff in folders doesn't actually change data security for the most part at all with reports. Like if they can open the report and run it, they could make the same report for the most part, unless they don't have access to create reports. But like, it's more so just if you had like a report that was like investigation into incident, like it was some employee incident, like something like that you might have been helping make, like past that, you're not getting security from it. It's just organization.
Yep.
So
Smart.
throwing it out there.
Yeah. Be thoughtful about your naming conventions on reports. All right. So Adriana, does that help a little
Yes.
bit? Okay,
Thank you.
fantastic. If you want to throw the link, if you can find it again, into the chat about the idea, you can put it up here, and then the folks here can decide if they're going to vote that up or not, because we have 24 people on the call today. All right. So Katie, I saw that you're on the call, and I also know that you're driving north. And so if you come off of mute, you can talk to us more about your issue about using Flow to make line breaks into another field.
I'm not driving. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Great.
Okay, cool. My husband is lucky enough to listen to one side of this conversation. But
all right, so you're passengering. Fantastic.
I'm passengering actively. So we have a flow, and we've got a body of text that we're trying to make line breaks in. With some HTML line breaks, and Squire has it on there, the things that we tried. Well, there's a little bit more on the post, but we did a substitute with the incoming field information, and then we tried to put in the BR and then the character, the 10 plus the 13. I can't explain it very well. I wish my architect was here. I'm butchering it, but I copy pasted what he said and I put it into the community group as a question. But basically we're having a hard time making line breaks, and we don't know if this is behavior expected from Flow. I don't know if I did that question any justice.
I don't know that it's so much what I think there's a few more things we need to know. What type of either field is in the flow or what type of field from an object are you leveraging in the flow?
Well, but the long text, it's a long text field.
So
Mm.
long text is still just text, whereas rich text, I think, is what would allow you to insert some of that markup.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. I wish
feel
Matt
like it's
was
just
here to
BR.
explain it. Because we were able to do it in Apex, weren't able to do it in like flow, just flow, weren't able to.
I
Were-
think
were
it's
you
just
able
to-
BR.
Yeah, were you
But-
able to use Apex to insert a line break into a long text area field?
Yes,
That's
Mhm.
fancy. I didn't know you could do that.
that's
I mean,
why I shouldn't be asking this question, because I didn't do that.
So I believe,
I'm trying my best here.
so we've done something similar, but I think if I'm understanding the original question, you were taking something that had line breaks and you're trying to parse it apart and put line breaks back into it so you can then cut and paste it. Is that true?
Yes.
Yeah. So I think there's the other piece of this is that variable that holds that text string doesn't know that it's not all text, even if you start adding special characters to it. So you have to parse it into multiple pieces and then reappend it all together. I think that's the other side of it. That's why it works in Apex, because Apex, you're basically casting it out of the text form and then back into a written text form. But if you just take a string and say change every L to BR/, it goes, okay, now it reads BR/. So I think there's two things going on there.
Well, and also, where is this original text coming from?
Smart.
It's coming from OpenAI, and it was written agnostically. That's
Okay.
what, because people are asking me, is it plain text or rich text that you're trying to put? And I asked Matt that, and he said he wrote it agnostically.
Okay. Well, so to say, if you
Or they
said
want to
something
know
like
HTML,
Microsoft,
that was the question. Sorry.
well, because if you had said something like Microsoft Word, Microsoft does its own little song and dance to HTML that makes everybody's lives miserable. So at least it's not that.
Yeah.
So, okay.
But yeah, I don't know. I'm sorry, I'm not here to do the question justice. I was hoping he'd be able
No,
to jump
you're-
on, but
Well, Matt's not on yet, but if he hops on later, hopefully he, makes a fuss. So we'll
I-
have to noodle on this a little bit.
I mean, I have a feeling like I vaguely remember actually trying to solve for the same thing years ago as an admin and probably just having to punt, also knowing that was the 2000 teens before Flow could do any of what it does now.
Did you
But-
just say 2000 teens?
Yeah, I did. Well, yeah. If it hasn't been patented, I will apply for that patent.
It was the early 20 teens and
Right. Back when my hair was still brown. Anyway,
oh damn.
but I have a feeling Squire's path is onto something of essentially concatenating the parts
Mhm.
with like a line break kind of method in there. Because like I think about in Excel, you can put in that's like car 34, I think is a hard return, and that'll
Yeah.
insert some things. There's a Salesforce equivalent in there, and if it's in Apex,
we did that,
okay, there it is.
but-
But yeah.
we did the car with the numbers,
Mhm.
and it didn't work.
Have you tried just like BR open parenthesis close parenthesis? Because I have it doesn't work in like a text area, like the text field, but if you have like the text area, which is where you can have lines, but like 255 character, that works. Like I have a flow that does it where like it goes onto a purchase order and like I do a line break. So it's like name and then next line is like phone number. And I just put that. So I literally have a formula like in Flow that just does like with the pluses and it's a text formula and the capital BR and then open parenthesis close parenthesis does do a line break. I don't know if it'll go over to like long text, but it works for just text areas from a flow.
Worth a try.
I would also offer, going back to the just the feature and that link that Gaurav had, you should definitely try to just concatenate 2 random fields together with the character and see if it works, because then you'll know if it's like, is it the data source, is it the replace, is it the flow, is it the function, right? So I think maybe a combination of what Andrew's talking about and do something really simple and prove that it works, so that should, that'll tell you then where the root cause is. So I think you're like 90% of the way there.
I think with that article came up before, I don't know if it was from Salesforce support or if it was something that we found, but I did try to execute it, and I think I put this in my response. The flow is in the before times, as Joy says. It's in Flow Classic, and I had never seen it, so I had a hard time translating it to what I know and I'm used to. So I think I might have butchered the solution up a little bit too. So it's worth another try.
I think that article is about rich
parental
text
guidance.
fields. Because it doesn't
Do
say
what?
rich text or long text in that article, and I feel like it might be a rich text field that like they're talking about. Because I just searched long and then rich, and neither are mentioned. And the like bracket for the break, how they're talking about it, like it's different. That's HTML, so that's probably talking about a rich text field in there.
Oops. I was gonna scroll back up and close it, sorry.
Squire, just close it all out on us. It's okay.
Another approach, and maybe it's already been mentioned. I'm really good at saying things people have already said. Have you tested trying to just brute force type in line, return line, just do those lines of text on this field, but have it populate a field on an object and then export it through data loader to see how data loader renders it? Because that might give you some insight of what's going on in between.
Ooh, I like that. You also might be able to do the same thing with the flow, see what the debugger thinks the variable looks like.
Yeah.
That might help you too.
Right.
I like that idea.
I'm gonna take this recording and send it off to someone smarter than me. Have him help me figure it out. But Matt's been teaching me a lot as we go through the process, so I'm excited to get this one solved.
Well, I mean, don't spend your Saturday night doing that, or your Sunday afternoon. Do that on work time.
Oh,
But
we're gonna do that next week.
That's
I have nothing to do for 4 hours in this car, so I thought I'd jump on and ask.
We're so glad. We're so glad.
Can we just take a second?
Pull
to
over, pull
reflect on
over.
how beautifully elegant Flow Classic looked. I mean, it's so clean. It's so simple. Like there's no added coats of like polished finish. It just was. It was beautiful.
In the before times.
Exactly.
Oh, Dale. Oh, Dale. All right. So, Katie, if we're wrapped up with this for now, we're going to go back to report folder things. Stuart is a little bit bent because he just made a subfolder on a private folder, and he thought that he didn't understand that wasn't possible. So I don't know what you're showing us. What are you doing?
Yeah,
Stuart?
I don't well,
What'd you discover?
as you know, Joy, I spent a week in report folder hell.
I mean,
so
didn't we just talk about this?
And so the fact that somebody would come on to the office hours and ask a question about report folders and how the heck that works, I'm like, hello, are you speaking my language? I'd love to take a part in this conversation. So why did they change this? How do I share my screen?
Oh, we
How do
might have
I-
to give you permission.
How do I
Hold
join?
on a
How do I
second.
join
No,
the
everybody's
conversation?
got access. Stu just needs to be trained on how to click the share button.
At the bottom, there's a button that says share screen.
Shut up. I don't know how to use. I don't know how to use computers. Okay.
Love you, Stuart.
So-
love it. Love it. Love
So
it.
I'm in my org. I'm in my production org. And here's my activity scorecards are here, and I believe that it is my private folder because I go to share and I say, who am I sharing this with? Well, I'm just sharing it with myself. It's my private folder.
Well,
Isn't
But
that how? Isn't that how
a
it
private
works?
folder,
The
like
private
the
folder.
private folder, right?
close this. Close
Okay.
this. Close this.
Close
this.
this.
So, private reports. If you go to new folder in the upper right-hand corner,
Yeah, new.
um,
Well, can I do this? So I'll go into the private folder.
well,
And then
you're in all folders right now. Go ahead.
I'm in all folders. Here's the caret. This folder of that folder, and I'm going to create a new folder. And this is going to be called sub folder
but
to
this
show
is stop. But
joy
stop.
what
Stop.
I
Cancel.
can
Cancel.
do.
Cancel.
And then hit save. And look at
no.
this. I have a new subfolder under here, of which in that subfolder, I can also view the shares. So the shares are going to be shared by the parent. This is what I've learned over the last week, is that folders get the access of their parents. So you can make at the root, you can make a sales folder, a service folder, a home office folder, a this folder, or that folder, a operations folder, and then share that with those users or groups. And then inside of those folders, you could create more subfolders.
Can you show me your private reports? That sounds. Damn it.
Can you show me?
Stop it. Stop it. Don't do that. Go private reports in the far left. It's the fourth choice.
So my question was related to the folder itself that's called private folder.
Right.
Yep.
Like when you go to private reports, it should show up that's in your private folder.
Right. So
not that you created a report, a folder that's private, but the one that's labeled private folder.
Yep.
Yeah, okay. That is that before enhanced report folder sharing, or is that part of this enhanced? Because Salesforce changed the way this whole works with enhanced report sharing or enhanced folder sharing, whatever they call it.
Yep.
And all the permission set names changed.
So Stu, I guess let me share really quick, because I think
you share. Because I've stopped. I used to be a report guru. This is how I started in Salesforce.
No,
by understanding how reports work.
You still are.
Now I have no clue what's going on.
So this folder right here is the private report folder that we're talking about, right? Oh, I haven't started sharing it. Sorry, hold on. All right. Right.
Who
so
needs
this
the sharing button lesson now?
Yeah, right. What a jerk. Right. So this folder is what we're talking about adding a subfolder to, right?
Yes.
But
that's what I wanted to
when I'm
add the
in this
subfolder to,
folder
but it
and I
won't
do
let
a new
you.
folder.
Yeah, hit me.
I'm just trying not to think about how Squire's view looks like Instagram, but then like Stewart's was landscape.
Yeah, he likes to take pictures in his iPhone like this. I take it like that.
Like an adult.
Right. So like when
my
you
God.
did what you did, Stu, you ended up having that hierarchy, but because I was trying to create it in the private folder, it automatically defaults to all folders. It doesn't subfolder it on that specific private reports
my
folder.
God.
Yeah, okay, I see what you're saying. I
But
don't
what
think
you said is 100% true, though.
Yeah. I believe that okay. Who cares what I believe?
I
but,
believe that we will win. I believe that we will win.
after talking to many people who are very smart, much smarter than I am, that you need to, before you even start creating your first report, you need to have a report distribution strategy. Think about the structure of how these reports are going to be saved, where they're going to save them to, who has access to what, who can share what. Do you do centralized reporting, decentralized reporting? Is it up for grabs for anybody to create and share and post a report anywhere? Or are you going to have one team that handles that understands the data, understands report types, understands how reports are used and shared and subscribed to? Because if you don't have that discussion, you are going to run into problems.
You export to Excel, you save it on your C drive, and hope for the best.
Dale, did you just say stuff to make me laugh? Because you're crazy town sometimes.
Sometimes.
And nowhere in the help files or in Trailhead or in anywhere do I see anything about this, about the strategy around implementing a good reporting structure? We have a million tools
Stuart,
and no
Stuart,
process.
Let's do this. Let's build the best practices and take it to Florida Dreamin'.
Here's the thing, the best practices exist. They don't exist in the Salesforce domain because that would make it sound more complicated, because it should be actually. The name of the marketing game is Simplify. Simplify does not take those things into consideration. So you're not going to find it in any materials out there, unfortunately.
Andrea, you're completely correct. This is what all of my users are saying.
Hey, Stuart.
I can see every report out there. Why do you even have report folders or report sharing when I can see everything that everyone has ever done?
Well, I mean, yeah, it goes back to Andrew's point earlier. Reports and report folders don't govern access to the data. So
No,
it's not a security
just
thing as long as
just
you're
the
smart enough to name the
collection
report
of the
correctly.
special
Right.
set of, yeah.
If you can view any of the data, you can make your own report to derive whatever answer you're looking for. Like, why not have them all public? But
So one of so I just wrapped up then here, because I really want to go to this other report folder question. Laura, thank you.
So I get on and it's like, okay, all these questions pop up. But no, when you were talking reports, I was like, oh, this would be, this is, so I'll explain. So we want to prevent, so we've been having everybody just create public folders. They're going to a report and say copy, duplicate. So we've got thousands of reports out there that people have just, So we want to start cleaning that up. And initially, I know you can hide the public folder period, but we want to allow people to see it, but we want to prevent people from creating new ones so that we can start forcing people into different folders. And then, while we clean up and move the, get rid of the bad reports and move the other reports to a different folder structure. So anybody got any idea? I looked around and couldn't find, there was an idea out there that it's like, somebody says, oh, let's put this idea, and then nobody voted on it and it closed. But
so Stuart, you're muted. You're muted.
Talking and muted.
He's talking to someone at his house, but he's coming up with some answers. You're talking to me, you're muted. How do we unmute you, Stuart? Like, Stuart, do you need help? Like, tap your head twice if you need help.
He's just
There's
giving you
the
crap.
article, the link I just dropped in the chat covers literally everything you're talking about. There's quite a bit there to unpack, but there's multiple permission settings that control whether you can view, edit, modify, save to all these public folders. That's where you're going to start. You have to, it's almost like org-wide default type thinking from the report perspective, building on what Stuart was just talking about.
However, I know that more recent orgs don't have the ability to turn off that enhanced folder sharing.
I gotta find. We just went over this.
Yeah. So, well, a little bit different. This is the public folder. So.
Yep. Yep. Agreed. And there is a matrix in a help file that you can look at and say, oh yeah, here it is. I'm sharing links. That you're gonna look at this and say, does this really explain it? So they changed the way that permissions work. They meaning Salesforce. What used to be manage public reports. And there used to be a permission set called view all data, and there still is. And now there's a permission set that's called manage reports in public folders, but that's not what you think it is. And then there's view reports in public folders and view dashboards in public folders and create report folder. And there's all these new permissions in this enhanced reporting folder public thing. You will need to get your PhD and then read through all these help articles. It is mind numbing. But the truth is in here. I believe like the X-Files, the truth is in here. And you and I in our orgs are gonna have to peel back the onions and figure out which of these settings will actually work so that our public folders stay public and our private folders stay private, and you can have users actually use reports.
Yeah, so I will play with those because again, maybe they're named weird to where you're like, oh, that's not it. But yeah, we just want to, because we're going to have to start. What I eventually want to do is hide public folders, and everybody's going to put either in their personal folder or they're going to put it in a place that it needs to go that they have access to. But we still need to let people see it. You know, I don't want to just turn it off or try to move all these reports into separate folders. You know, so I want them to see it, but not save or edit. And then when they, you know, then they can start, oh, I can't move it here, so I'll make a copy over somewhere where I'm supposed to. And then eventually hide it, but that's kind of the idea.
The ability to disable viewing public folders is going to be a trick, though.
Well, there's a feature, there's a permission on the permission set.
Okay.
Let me find it here, because
Why not
that
just
is-
get rid of reports that are not ran in like the last 3 years? If nobody's
Right.
run a report in the last 3 years, if you need it, you can just make the report again realistically, or make a sandbox copy of it with the
So-
report.
So one of the strategies that I've had with like archiving reports in the past, having been in orgs that were like 10 plus years old and having run like through all of the crazy, you're like, why are there 15 reports named almost the same thing? What I did with those after running a report on reports, right, is I put them all into an archive folder that no one could access. So it was like the access was completely shut down. I could get to it if someone clicked on, they're like, oh, why can't I see this report? And I'm like, well, I still have the report. What do you need from the report? It helps. Yeah, a report. You like that, Square? And then eventually I phased them out, but like I didn't do it all at once because inevitably like someone finds out and they're like, what? And recreating a report that they can't tell you about is actually very challenging. They're like, it was right here, here's the report, and you're like, what did it have in it? What was the filter criteria? What was the calculations? What was the thing? What were the buckets? All the things. Or what did the chart look like? And they're like, it looked like this. I have a PDF of it, and you're like, I don't know how they built that.
And it does beg the question though, like, why does there need to be so many reports that require this comprehensive foldering strategy? Like again, back in my days as an admin, every month ran a report of what reports haven't been run in like the last 90 days, unless you were named EOY, whatever like that. You can put on that report. Is it on a dashboard? Because that does change your decision. You analyze dashboards, all that. But why so many disparate reports that, like to Andrew's point, maybe haven't been run in 3 years because it was built once, maybe not even run in actual report mode. They got what they needed in preview, so it's technically never been run. But like, where is is there a reporting strategy that needs to be discussed / conceived? Because I also beg the question at a strategic level, why are all these people asking so many different questions about the exact same data? Do they have a grasp on what's going on? And is that because potentially the data model needs to be altered? Does the process need to be altered? Like, just looking at a bunch of reports does not make things better. You got to peel. Sometimes the answer is peel the data model back, and then you don't end up with 1 million reports because you come up with like 5 reports that actually answer all the questions and they just get recurringly run. I mean, I know, Joy, I'm not trying to be funny on that one, but
no,
serious,
it's Stuart's fault. Dale, I'm not laughing at you. It's Stuart's fault. I'm so
Okay.
sorry. I'm
Stuart
like,
figured out how to use Zoom.
So here's kind of a comment on that. So what people are doing, and I'm new to this org, I just changed companies, but what people are doing is like they're pulling up a report and saying, oh, it's almost what I want, but I want to add something different. And so they want to add a new field. So they save as, and then you get copy of copy. And then they do that on copy. So we have copy of report name.
oh, that's exhausting.
So that's what we're trying to prevent. So it's like, okay, if you're going to create a report, you can look at the one in public and save it in your own. And then eventually, as we clean out public, we will probably, hide it, or I think you can hide it now that I'm looking
so,
at it.
okay, that makes sense. Like if the report has this many fields, or maybe the date range needs to be, got it. There still needs to be a governing approach. We've talked about governance a bajillion times on these calls of what are the core reports. That's what's public. Sure, users, you have every right to then hit save as, and it saves privately because you're not going to alter the company's view for your own benefit. Like, that's too much power. I would think that's a simple permission, but I mean, Stu's point, permissions kind of got changed and overhauled and enhanced and de-enhanced and whatever. So maybe that's part of the puzzle. But what are the core KPIs? That should be what's public, to then hit save as and save private, not save as public. And if something does need to change in that core in addition to, that's when it becomes a work request for admins to say, hey, we've had an overwhelming request that we need to alter or enhance. Great. The core reports have been changed. You still have the ability to hit save as and go private if you need to.
Yeah, and that's what we're trying to get to, because it's been totally unmanaged. And I noticed it because, you know, I just happened to notice, come across things, and I'm like, you know, this is crazy. So, but yeah, I see it one in there that talks about you can hide the public folder, which again, I would like to eventually do, because then you have to put it in a place where it's supposed to go, or you put it in your private. So technically there shouldn't be any generic public folder, and you can hide it based on the permission sets, but I don't see any way to manage, other than I might have found one here. So I'll try it. I'll play around with it.
Yeah.
You know what? I
And,
just found a permission set, and I don't know how I didn't notice this before. It says manage report in public folders, create, edit, delete, and manage. Oh, but see, that's off. So, okay. So yeah, we have that off, and yeah, I'll keep playing with it. Maybe like our permissions. That's part of my new job, is to revamp our permissions and security.
Can I make a quick recommendation? I feel like I'm picking up on some stuff that maybe we should call out. Is I feel very confident in saying that everything you want to be able to do in the reports can be done with the existing permission checkboxes. But because you're in a brand new org, you might be testing one thing that is being counteracted by something else you don't even know about. Create a dev box, figure out what those settings actually do for you, and then you know what to go back to the org with and say, okay, these things have to be true. Pull up that permission analyzer, find out why Bill breaks the rules. Not that you can't, but that why is there an exception? Because I think that's what you're dealing with.
Start with what it was meant to do.
Right. Like the profiles and the permission sets, the permission set groups, all of the things. Because all it takes is one of those things to be hiding a little bitty permission set or permission checkbox that you didn't realize was out there. And well, you know, there are two people on this call that talk to that.
Yeah, technically it's not a new org. It's 8 years old, and it's just not been managed. So I'm, like I said, I'm revamping all the permissions. So that's the whole thing we're going to go through. But this came up because somebody said, there's like a copy of a copy of a copy of a copy of a folder of a report. Can we stop them from doing that?
And Stu spoke to that, right? Come up with a pattern that you're going to rely upon for report access, so you know what you're measuring toward, not measuring against.
And you know this as well, Laura, that when you go to report folder sharing, you can share it at the user level, at a group level, at a role and hierarchy level, at I think teams and my team and my teams level. Like there's a bunch of ways. So if you're saying, well, somebody's complaining that they can see something or can't see something, your list of things to look for is going to be endless. So you have that going for you.
Well, I'm going to fix all the permissions here before long, and then I'll know what's going on. So anyway, thank you for your input.
Fantastic.
Appreciate it.
Fantastic. Will, you posted a link. Do we want to name that link? Because I don't think that link comes across in the recording and all that, but it is a link to something fancy.
Yeah, it's the user access and permissions assistant app in the App Exchange. It is incredibly useful for these kinds of scenarios where you said, Joy, there could be a single checkbox on a profile or a perm set group that's just buried somewhere. Lifesaver.
Hey, Squire, can we get that link into our Hall of Fame
I will do it right now. Good
deck?
idea.
Because I feel like I don't know, I feel like permissions and permission sets and profiles and all this just keeps coming up in my life. And so we're gonna make sure that it's here in
Throwing it
important
out
places.
there, the user access permission set does have a good chunk of problems from like the scale standpoint, but they did just add in summer the ability to go on a user and look at every bit of permissions that they have with the summary, which kind of does exactly what's needed there. And then you could do it also on the groups and permission sets to see like how they're evaluating out too. So
Mhm.
Andrew,
just throwing it out there.
Andrew, is it still limited to a 5,000 user or less org?
The user access permission assistant.
Yeah, I have a greater than 5,000 user org and it doesn't work.
I have less than 75 active users and it doesn't work for me. So
Yeah, okay. Yeah, there are some limitations.
and it's a lot
great,
of work to set up.
It's a great tool, but there's some limitations there.
But needless to say, thank you, Will, because I think that's a huge resource and that not everyone, like, it's kind of like once you load it, you kind of forget that you had it. And then you get to a new org and you're like, why did I have this? How did I get there? Why did it work so well? And then you're like, oh, gotta add that in. Cool. So it is 1:46. Do we have any other questions loaded up? Squire, I didn't see any other questions.
I didn't see any either, but that doesn't mean there aren't any.
I mean, I know I have lots of questions. Like, why can't I have more chocolate for lunch than vegetables? But here we are. No questions? Come on. You're all slacking for summer. Like, school's out. You said I'm done working this year. Like, what the heck? No question. I'm amazed. I'm so proud of all of you.
I'll just say, while I'm working on refactoring this org, then, I'll be jumping in with lots of questions.
Well, I have really bad news, Laura. We are off for the month of July.
well, that's okay. I'll just,
but the
I'll bug
community
Mike.
group, the community group is still going to be available. So, still post in the MVP office hours community, because we still have a lot of smart people that will be taking a look at that. And then, you can bother all of us all the time, all the places, and it's great.
Well, I'll be sad for July.
Pat wants to know if anyone's going to Southeast Dreamin'. That's in Atlanta, yes. Kathy will be there. Kathy, are you speaking? Andrew will be there. Andrew, are you speaking?
I'm speaking.
Will, are you going too?
No.
No? Okay. But Will, you had your hand up for a question then. So
Oh yeah, I can bring a conversation point up that'll stir the pot a little bit.
All right, Pat, we answered your question. You got a couple friends that'll be there. So make sure you find them and hi and say in person, and then tag us on like the socials with MVP office hours. I love that. So Will, talk to us about whatever this pot.
Oh yeah, everybody's favorite topic of email to case. And so really the question comes to what are people doing when it comes to cases reopening, or the better thing is when a customer replies, they clear out, they do the threading thing where they clear out the email and then their case gets reopened.
Oh.
Or not reopened and service people miss it because, yeah, that whole mess. Joy, you're on it immediately. Told you, it's just pot stir. It's a fun one.
Well, before I weigh in, how do you measure agent performance? And are you currently measuring, whether it's right or wrong, agent performance by saying that this person sent a certain number of emails?
That's where this particular part of the business is trying to head, and I'm encouraging them, don't use that as a good indicator.
That's a good idea. So how the business measures things is the biggest impact to what the correct design for you in the moment will be. And the reason why I say that is however you begin to measure and compensate employees will direct and tune their behavior. And so, for example, you will receive an email that reopens your case, that just says thanks, and then the agent will send another email that says no problem, and then close that case and get credit again. So that's not work. Maybe we shouldn't count that, right? But if that is what you're counting, that is the type of behavior you're going to begin to incentivize. Whereas if you don't incentivize that send, then they're going to see the email, say thanks, they're going to close the case again and move on with life without sending that email, right? So that behavior heavily influences the design of what you do with this. It's really, really hard using the standard tools that you get out of the box with Salesforce to come up with a way to say, this was an email reply that literally just said, thanks, I don't need to reopen the case. And this is an email reply that is substantive. I do need to reopen the case, or I need to change the status of the case if it's already open, blah, blah, blah. The thing that I have seen most companies adopt, be this right or wrong, is an amount of time. So if I send a response and I am waiting on my customer for a certain duration of time, I'm then just going to close the case. And once I really close the case, it's closed. Right. And so you get into this idea of like a soft close. So I might have a status that says closed that the agent can choose, but it is actually an open status. And then if it stays like that, I don't get a response from the customer, then I then at the 7-day mark, for example, flip it from closed to closed complete. And at closed complete, it's really closed. If they reply to it, I actually tell them that they replied to a closed case and ask them to send a new email, or reply to a closed case creates a new case. That's up to you. That's your business process. What do you want to do? How customer centric do you want to be? So there's a lot of ways to go through that. The real nuts and bolts of it is that email to case is always going to have this problem. It's innate to email. Stop sending email, we'll start using a portal. That's the real answer, right? But how do you solve that problem? Well, it depends.
Yeah,
How do you measure agent productivity? And then where do you want to draw the line, and how customer centric can you get the business to be?
Yep. You're validating what I've been encouraging and cultivating as far as a solution with them.
There is a, pardon me, there is a report that Salesforce generates. You can Google, it's like behind a lead form, but they already know who you are. Fill it out. It's called the State of Service. And they do this every year. And it has a bunch of, it's kind of like thought about how should we be more customer centric and how should we work on our interaction channels. And I recommend that. I don't recommend reading it every year, but if you've never read it, that is a pretty good one.
Oh my. Don't read it every year.
Yeah.
What kind of advice
And
is that, Mike?
Yeah, that, or well, pay for Einstein case classification. That will help.
Yeah, we've got that. We're a UE edition, so it's there. But it's part of this is really the business process and challenging them on, as you said, metrics and how are people putting stuff in, because their favorite thorn is customer cleared out an email from a previous case. So customer thinks it's an empty email, but threading is in the header. And so therefore it goes on old case from a long time ago.
Yeah. And that's what I say, like being super customer centric, right?
Yeah.
I hit reply and replaced everything. That true thread ID in the SMTP is still there. I'm going to go back. So do you then, in that case, we're going to be customer centric. Let me open a new case for you because you are in a truly closed status. This was 7 months ago.
Yep.
Right. Let's open a new case. We have the ability to figure that out. And so we can do it. Right.
Yeah. But then they want all the stuff, the email to reparent and everything, and email reparenting on email to cases, as far as I understand, not possible.
That's rather spicy. So do you have access to developers?
Yeah.
Have you considered using an email service and not email to case?
Tell me more.
I have a very limited amount of time, so we'll say this.
Yeah.
Email to case is going to auto magically do everything for you without really giving you any control over the outcome. An
Mhm.
email service is going to do everything for you, but ask you to configure everything. And so it just gives you the opportunity to stop, hold that in just in your hands and think about what you want to do and make decisions.
Yep.
And if it's going to be that standard thing, you end up with what you have today.
Got it.
If it's going to be that non-standard thing, you can do something non-standard with it because
it.
you're handling it all with code.
Got it. So it's all Apex managed.
You will be writing some code.
Got it. And then email to
But-
case would get turned off. So it's fuller control using code.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah, it is a one or the other. You can still use email to case for email addresses that are outside of your email service, right? But a single email address will be serviced by one of these two means, like an email servicing thing that you set up or email to case. You will not use the same email with both.
Got it. Got it.
Well, you did that in a minute and a half instead of 4 minutes.
Like a
Well done,
pro.
Mike. Yeah, seriously. So Stuart and Andrew gave us some maybe helpful information. I don't think the AI will write it for you, but it's helpful. Stuart, thanks. And Andrew, what is that link? The App Exchange? Can you show us real quick? Do you have that pulled up?
You want me to
Um,
show you?
I
it,
do,
like,
and
in
the
real
reason
life?
is no, just like if you can just pop up the App Exchange. The reason I asked for that is because the recording I don't think the recording pulls a chat over Squire.
Nope.
And so we kind of lose some of that. And so if we can show what this is real quick, then that helps out.
Why don't I just share my screen and just show it? So
Yeah,
like
that
in real life, yeah.
I just need to see the App Exchange because I want to share it with the people. And you have like 2.5 minutes
Oh,
left.
that.
So
Okay.
quick,
Hold on. I'm
quick,
going.
quick. Because
Okay.
when I share links, it says,
Yeah, they're
dangerous.
questionable.
I think
They
it's
don't-
sharing.
Questionable source. So go back to the top. $22 per user per month. That is a pricey spot. Email the case premium though. Improve case management to increase agent productivity.
It's so worth it.
Andrew
like-
loves it. $22 per user per month is something that people have to think about.
Is it per service
for
user or per licensed
It's
user in
just
the org?
service user who's using it, but like
Got it.
all the email chains, it gets rid of that whole bottom part of them. So you just have
Hmm.
the most recent reply, and it saves them as case comments, so you can get a nice timeline like of it, and it's honestly like I don't even know how
Andrew
to
likes it.
explain it.
Andrew likes it. And so if budget is not an issue, then you just do whatever you're gonna do.
It's just so nice. But
yeah.
yeah,
But there we are. So we have about a minute and a half, maybe 2.5 minutes left. Thanks everybody for being here today. I really appreciate you coming in. I'm so glad you guys were here. It's Friday.
It is Friday.
It is a
Thank God
sunny
for Friday.
summer Friday for me. And my sky looks like Kathy's background. But I don't know about the rest of you. Kathy, and I'm never gonna turn down coffee crisps ever. I'm not gonna turn them down ever. They're so good. They're so good. They're way better than those Java chip Oreos. What the heck? So at DevOps Dreamin', we had a person who's on this call on your screen right now bring in his leftover Oreos. There are 20 flavors. 20 flavors. Thanks, Mike. And we all tried a lot of Oreos at DevOps Dreamin' the other day, and
It was 22 flavors.
there you go. It was 22
22.
flavors, 22 different flavors. And I still will hold true to the peanut butter pie Oreo being the best one. It was my favorite one. And I'm probably going to go buy a package of those this weekend. All right.
Chocolate peanut butter pie.
Is it chocolate peanut butter pie?
It's
But it wasn't a
chocolate peanut
chocolate
butter
cookie.
pie.
It was a graham cracker cookie. So it was just chocolate and peanut butter cream filling.
Look, I
and
don't
the graham
make the
cracker.
names. I don't
You're
make the
right.
names.
I think
It's
you're
like
right.
I'm just here to eat
Wait,
'em.
wait. I said it. It's in recording. You're right. There's the timer. Call's over. Call's over. No, not that one. Who's sharing that? No. No.
So
no,
in all
no.
fairness, this was very shocking. It was very surprising to me, but even the children thought that the double stuff was better than a mega stuff.
Yeah, there's a sweet
And-
spot. No pun necessary. Where too much
Yeah.
frosting is too much frosting.
It's
Yep.
it is. And I think
No.
really it's like it's a
No.
structural thing because you get cookie breakage not where you're biting because there's not enough support. But the double layer, chef's kiss, that's great.
It's like having
I-
too many marshmallows in your s'more.
Yeah, there's a
Yeah,
there's a point
there's
at
a
which there's
sweet
too
spot.
much.
There's a sweet spot.
Oh,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't know.
Though mind you, getting older, I appreciate the thins, the Oreo
Yeah.
thins.
I-
I've
I-
eaten
You know,
more
I immediately
Oreos.
dismissed that.
Mike,
There's
if
no
you
point
could
in
No,
share
that.
but
the
I-
peanut butter pie Oreo that I was talking about, that'd be much appreciated. And so
I
that's all.
Don't
yeah,
have
that's
any
it.
left.
Oh, no, I meant like on your
No.
screen. Anyway. All right, friends, it's 2 o'clock or 3 o'clock, depending on where you are, or 1 o'clock. I don't know, but it's time to say bye. So we'll talk to y'all later.
Yeah.
Happy Friday,
Bye.
everybody.
Have a great weekend.
Bye.